What's going on, people? Welcome back to my channel where you get to learn about leadership, communication, and networking. Andrew Cuomo is set to resign. Um, he read the speech and he has 14 days to officially resign. Now, I viewed the entire video that he did because he gave a full speech about his activities, and it sounded sort of like a political campaign. Yeah, I didn't turn off the AC. Okay, so it sounded sort of like a political campaign to me. Um, that's one side of the speech that I listened to, and I would probably roll over some of them so we could most likely listen to it together. But yeah, what he gave was like to set the tone for a future political campaign. But that's my opinion. So if you have a different opinion, just that's fine. I always welcome people with difference of opinion. So yeah, he gave the speech, and he said a lot of these things. And mind you, I'm not really a huge fan of Cuomo or any political candidate like that, because I think political candidates these days, especially in this time where we're living, they are one of the most, I don't have the word to describe them, like almost like the dirtiest human being, because of the fact that even though we are all working towards achieving the same goal, they are always there to divide people. Okay, and they don't do this divisiveness in a in the most rational way. They do it in the way that you have to hate the other person because they want you to be on their side or to vote for them. So there are so many ways you could have done this. In our opinion, you could be a political watchdog, and also if someone is not doing what they're supposed to do, you could call them out. But trying to black paint people, black paint your opponent, black paint your position, and poisoning people's mind is something I am totally against. Back to Cuomo. So he gave the speech and he said he was accused of this thing. And mind you, all of these things are still allegation. No, because I went through a lot of websites. I was looking for like a factual thing of a factual accusation, but they are all still allegation. And he decided to step down because he said it's putting New Yorkers first, which in this case, as a leader, I think it's a good move. It's a good move because keep in mind, we are always looking at how the leadership structure of someone, or a character or something. So I think him stepping down is a good thing. And he said this lady will be taking over from him, I believe. I'll probably look for the name, whatever. But if you have the name, you could comment it below. So yeah, he steps down, and he's doing this to avoid chaos. And one thing I want us to look into is, why exactly is he stepping down? Okay, there's so many theories that has been gathering behind this. Now, a lot of people were saying things like, oh, he's stepping down because they have more than enough evidence on him. That's one. That other people are like, he's stepping down because he wants to run for a future political office, most likely the president of the United States. Some other people are saying, well, he's just stepping down because he doesn't know what to do. So for me, I think someone like Cuomo, because I've seen Cuomo speak on the news, on the screen, on the website, on TV. And you could tell that Cuomo is a tough guy. I think that's one of the reasons why I use the word New York tough. He's not the kind of guy that you could just put on the side or sideline or just bend anyhow. So for him to step down, there has to be something. And that's one thing we don't know, because all these allegations, like I said, they are no facts. They are just allegations. And that is one thing that I need us to also consider, because we live in a society where it's supposed to be you are innocent until proven guilty. But now you are guilty until proven innocence, which is weird. But it's just majority of cases that we see today, it's always that case. Okay. But like I said, I am open to different points of view. So if you have the facts or the proof, like don't come around me with that. Oh, if they say this, you should believe the victim. I don't buy none of those things. Okay. I believe in facts, evidence, empirical evidence, because the moment you say things like believe the victims, you are ruining someone else's life based on assumptions. And I think it's dangerous if we keep letting things like this just slide, because that means people could just come forward and make false allegations. And the fact that we believe, knowing or thinking that, okay, people will believe me, I think it's very dangerous, especially if it has to do with destroying the other person's life. And that is why I'm always of the opinion that there has to be fact before we take actions, especially if it's an action that would affect the other party's life. So let's go through the video. Let's see what it has to say. I'm gonna share my screen with you. And oh, by the way, let me first show you guys what Biden has to say. Now, I was gonna say I'm not sure because online people cut a lot of videos and so many other things, so you never know which is which. But this was from Real Daily Wire.
Governor of New York's done one hell of a job. I think he's sort of the gold standard.
That's just a.
Gold. All right. Who's gold? Your governor of New York's done one hell of a job. I think he's sort of the gold standard.
That was funny though, but yeah, I don't think Biden made the speech in the space of when CUOMO announced his resignation. But online these days you can't really trust people. But let's go to CUOMO, okay? Now this was his allegation. I was going to point something out. He said something very powerful that I want us to listen to.
It was embarrassing to her, and it was disrespectful. It was a mistake, plain and simple. I have no other words to explain it. I want to personally apologize to her and her family. I have the greatest respect for her and
Okay, I got a notification that my sharing was stopped. So let me bring this forward and then I'll roll it again. So this is the screen I'm sharing. And now we're sharing, so you can see that.
and for the New York State Police. Now,
this is one aspect I want you guys to listen to very closely, okay? Closely, because this here has a lot of underlining meaning, and that's might be me. But let me know if you think something different entirely in the comment section. But I want you guys to listen to this.
Obviously, in a highly political matter like this, there are many agendas and there are many motivations at play. If anyone thought otherwise, they would be naive, and New Yorkers are not naive.
Okay, many agendas and many motivations at play. And if you think otherwise, you are naive. Okay, you are naive. Now, this statement is not giving away too much, but at the same time, it's giving away something. Now, I'm not the type of person who reads into statement or meaning of statement, but if you pay close attention, this is a very powerful statement emphasizing what is happening in today's world. Every single action taken by your political opponent has an agenda, has a motivation, especially if it's coming from your opposition. Both agendas and motivations are usually bad, to paint someone bad. And I want you guys to pay attention to this, because I'm not here to defend CUOMO. I don't know him. I don't really pay attention to politicians, because I think politicians in most cases are all the same, and they always do things to like tarnish each other's images, which I think is absurd and dirty. But in this case, this statement says so much to me. And if you think you're just watching this and you're watching things based on allegations, you are naive. So let's go back to the allegation. And he says he takes full responsibility and accountability, which is one thing I think a leader should always do. Okay. If you are focusing, if you are following this channel and you're planning to hone your leadership, every single thing you do, whether you're a man or a woman, if you make a mistake, own it. Okay. Don't be the type of person who expects people to, to always take the blame for your mishap. So here in this place, Cuomo is taking full accountability of everything that he's done. And there's one thing that I want us to talk about, because I'll play the allegations. I'll let you guys listen to the allegations. And then we'll talk about this, the world that we're currently living. Okay.
Putting my arm around a staff person while taking a picture was friendly. There are wrong. This is sexual harassment, alleged improper conduct, credible facts. The most serious allegations made against me had no credible factual basis.
All right, like I said, I've been through series of websites looking for facts, and I didn't find nothing. Everything was allegation, and that's what he just said, that no credible allegation. So, like I said, if you have anything credible, post a link to it in the comment section, because I'm looking for things, okay? And if not, let's just keep listening.
In the report. And there is a difference between alleged improper conduct and concluding sexual harassment.
You guys heard that? If you think, and this is why a lot of people that always act based on feelings, after acting on feelings and saying this guy is wrong, that is wrong, blah, 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 and they go to court, they always lose the case. Okay. You can't win a case if all you're doing is one allegation and you're always in your feelings. There has to be conclusive evidence. If we are tying it to claim someone or to maybe, use it to like accuse someone. All right. So you need to understand that aspect.
Now, don't get me wrong. This is not to say that there are not 11 women who I truly offended. There are. And for that, I deeply, deeply apologize. I thought a hug and putting my arm around a staff person while taking a picture was friendly.
All right, this is the section where I need you guys to pay full attention and listen to this very closely, because we will touch on every single aspect of this and we will break it down and then look at the current world that we're living through a specific microscope. And then we will now ask ourselves a question. Where are we coming from? Where are we and where are we headed as a human species?
But she found it to be too forward. I kissed a woman on the cheek at a wedding and I thought I was being nice, but she felt that it was too aggressive. I have slipped and called people honey, sweetheart, and darling. I meant it to be endearing, but women found it dated and offensive. I said on national TV to a doctor wearing PPE and giving me a COVID nasal swab, "You make that gown look good." I was joking. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have said it on national TV. But she found it disrespectful. I take full responsibility for my actions.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there. Now, that is one thing I want you guys to pay attention to. He is taking full responsibility. And remember the Biden video I showed you guys, saying, yeah, Cuomo's is setting a gold standard. This can actually ramify that aspect, that statement that he's setting a gold standard. Like I said earlier on, I'm not a fan of this guy. I'm not a fan of any political candidate, but he is doing the right thing, especially in the best interest of New Yorkers in this current situation. So let's keep, I'm gonna roll this. We're gonna watch this for a couple of minutes and then we'll talk about this thing that I want us to talk about.
I have been too familiar with people. My sense of humor can be insensitive and off-putting. I do hug and kiss people casually, women and men. I have done it all my life. It's who I've been since I can remember. In my mind, I've never crossed the line with anyone.
I just want to state this real quick for YouTube, in case YouTube thinks, oh, they want to like block the video or something. This is in fair usage. It's in fair usage. I'm doing a breakdown. So YouTube, do not block this and do not demonetize this video. It is in fair use. Okay.
But I didn't realize the extent to which the line has been redrawn. There are generational and cultural shifts that I just didn't fully appreciate.
Okay, now this is one thing I want you guys to pay attention to: generational and cultural shift. Okay, generational and cultural shift.
And I should have. No excuses. The report did bring to light a matter that I was not aware of and that I would like to address. A female trooper relayed a concern that she found disturbing, and so do I. Please let me provide some context. The governor's trooper detail had about 65 troopers on it. But of the 65, only 6 women and 9 Black troopers. I'm very proud of the diversity of my administration. It's more diverse than any administration.
All right, this is the portion where he's getting all political and telling us about him legalizing love and allowing the LGBT to start getting married in New York, and also having more women in his administration, much more than all previous administration. I think all of this is just a political strategy to like wet the ground for his future political plans and aspiration, which is good in his own self-interest, but that's kind of out of topic. But I think it's a good thing that he's doing, because sometimes if you don't mention the things you've done, yeah, the people won't know and the media won't recirculate it, because the media will want to focus on some specific aspect of the things you've done. So I think it's a good thing that he's doing. I think that's one thing every leader needs to know how to do. They need to know how to. And if you go through my videos, I did a video on how to self-promote yourself. Um, you got to be able to self-promote. If you don't know how to self-promote, your business is done, especially if you are the leader of the business. You need to be able to self-promote. And I think that's what it's doing right here, which is a very good leadership quality as well. But we're going to roll this and listen for a couple of minutes. Once it gets all political, I'm going to pause it and maybe we'll like go to the end, and then we'll talk about these allegations that has no conclusive proof, no evidence, but then he's still stepping down, and he has released his resignation, which will be effective in 14 days from the day he made this initial announcement.
In history. And I'm very proud of the fact that I have more women in senior positions than any governor before me. The lack of diversity on the state police detail was an ongoing disappointment for me. In many ways, the governor's detail is the face of state government that people see. When I attend an event, people see the detail that's with me. I was continuously trying to recruit more to diversify. On one occasion, I met 2 female troopers who were on duty at an event. Both seemed competent and impressive. And I asked the state police to see if they were interested in joining. I often meet people, men and women, and if they show promise, I refer them to be interviewed. The state police handled the interviewing and the hiring, And one of the two troopers eventually joined the detail. I got to know her over time, and she's a great professional. And I would sometimes.
All right, I need you guys to pay close attention to this. Okay, she was talking about the female police trooper he allowed on his detail, and I need you guys to pay close attention to this.
Banter with her when we were in the car. We spent a lot of time driving around the state. This female trooper was getting married, and I made some jokes about the negative consequences of married life. I meant it to be humorous.
Okay, he made some joke about the negative consequences of married life, which is a joke. Okay, it's a joke. This guy has a huge sense of humor. As a leader, you need to have a sense of humor, but people sometimes take things out of context. They take things super serious, and then sometimes they interpret things based on how they currently feel. So he made a joke. Apparently, the lady didn't see it as a joke, which is one of the reasons why I'm trying to become a comedian. Because yeah, once you're a comedian, you can insult people and get away with it. But now we don't want to be insulting people. You can make fun of people. Let me use the word make fun, not insult. Make fun of people, make fun of the government, make fun of the president, and people will just laugh at it. You know, that's when you're a professional comedian. I think everyone should have that somewhere underneath your sleeve. But yeah, he apparently made a joke, and we'll see how this ends.
She was offended, and she was right. The trooper also said that in an elevator, I touched her back. And when I was walking past her in a doorway, I touched her stomach. Now, I don't recall doing it, but if she said I did it, I believe her. At public events, troopers will often hold doors open or guard the doorways. When I walk past them, I often will give them a grip of the arm, a pat on the face, a touch on the stomach, a slap on the back. It's my way of saying, I see you, I appreciate you, and I thank you.
Okay, now if you guys remember clearly, this channel is focused on leadership, communication, and networking. Now, what he's talking about here is I touch them in the face, I touch them in the stomach, I pat on the back. It's and pay attention to what he said. He said, it's my way of saying I appreciate you, I thank you, which means that is how he communicates. Okay. Remember, communication is both verbal and non-verbal, and that is his own way of communicating, which they clearly don't understand, or in some case they understand. But if remember the first thing I played, that if you think there is no agenda or motivation, you're naive. It's now being used against them, because how many times have you gone outside, and give a handshake to someone? All right. Even if it's knuckle, even if it's a knuckle or maybe a pat on the back or whatever, um, it's crazy, but sometimes it's a way of communicating appreciation and safety, but clearly that is his own way, which means sometimes your own way of communication might not be the other person's way of communication. And you need to understand people and understand people's means of communicating. Um, his way of communicating apparently turned out to be clearly misunderstood, which happened over time, and now it's been used against him. So also, whatever you do, however you communicate, be careful, guys, because it could be used against you in the nearest future. Who knows? But let's keep going.
I'm not comfortable just walking past and ignoring them. Of course, usually they are male troopers. In this case, I don't remember doing it at all. I didn't do it consciously with the female trooper. I did not mean any sexual connotation. I did not mean any intimacy by it. I just wasn't thinking. It was totally thoughtless in the literal sense of the word, but it was also insensitive. It was embarrassing to her, and it was disrespectful. It was a mistake, plain and simple.
Okay, now one of the aspects, one of the things that I want us to talk about is things like this, whereby remember when I said pay attention to the generation and cultural shift, because back in the days, you could hug it, people will even go downtown and hold a sign and say free hugs. Okay. People, you could give a stranger a handshake, you could talk to someone random, but times have changed. And now you can't do none of those things. Or maybe even if you do that, one of those things, you have to be worried about, would they use this against me in the future? That is where we are. And that is the generational and cultural shift that we're going through right now. It's so mandatory to know how to just keep to yourself. It's one of the most difficult things to be into this world, is to be a public figure. Okay, to be a public figure, to be a police officer, or to be an artist. Those are like one of the most difficult job, because you get judged every single day. You get judged by people that don't know you. You get judged by people that are not even perfect, but they expect perfection from you. So that's the generational and cultural shift that I want us to look into right now. And it's just strange.
I have no other words to explain it. I want to personally apologize to her and her family. I have the greatest respect for her and for the New York State Police.
Okay, now that is important. But one thing I want us to look into, or one question that I want us to ask ourselves, if someone touches your stomach, let's say, I don't know how long ago, but let's say 1 year ago, and you felt uncomfortable, when should you let the person know? Should it be time after, when they probably don't even remember, and knowing that that would affect their life, their career, their image? Or should you call it out immediately on the spot? Because now it's like you could do the slightest thing with good intention, and people would, like, if you like, for example, if you when he touched the stomach of the lady, for example, she probably didn't say anything, but then she would just keep it in her mind and be like, I'm gonna wait after 1 year and just say it out, and maybe use it to like hold him accountable, which in this case would probably destroy his career. It's a very sensitive thing to look at. It's a very sensitive thing, and I think people should say these things immediately and correct it immediately, because now it's just like a ticket to just come out and ruin someone's life. Man, honestly, I can't remember. Like, I don't even know where to start with this, but the point of this is we live in a very sensitive time, a very sensitive time, and you just gotta be careful, because you don't know what might backfire in the future. You don't know what might bite you back in the future. You just do things out of good intention, but it could be used against you as a bad intention if you're not being careful. I'm gonna roll this again, and then.
Now, obviously, in a highly political matter like this, there are many agendas and there are many motivations at play. If anyone thought otherwise, they would be naive, and New Yorkers are not naive.
All right, New Yorkers, you are not naive, and this is the truth. New Yorkers are not naive. So One thing I want us to look into is this cultural and generational shift. Where are we headed? Okay, where were we coming from? And where are we currently? All right. Should people, how do you network with people in this sensitive time where anything could be used against you if you're not careful? Everyone is taking the picture, everyone is recording stuff. How do you network with people? You have to be highly professional. You have to be sensitive to information. You have to be sensitive to people's reactions and behaviors around you as well. So as to avoid any form of trouble. Now he said he did a bunch of things like touching and pecking and hugging and touching the stomach, and he said he had no um sexual intention, but it became an allegation. But there are still no conclusive evidence. So one thing that I want us to look at is his resignation. Okay, his resignation. How does it affect his future political career? I think it's a big move, him resigning before they tarnish his image. And I think he will still be able to run for political offices, and he will still be entitled to pension, you know. So I think that's a smart move. And also to sometimes you don't have to drag a lot of things. I don't think he's being blackmailed in this case, because someone told me maybe he's being blackmailed and they have some things on him, and that is why he's stepping down. So, but in this case, I don't think he's being blackmailed. I think he wants to pave a way for his future political aspiration, so this doesn't come and bite him back. And in case, and this could go two ways. If they have evidence, he will be prosecuted and he won't be able to run. But if they don't have any conclusive evidence, then he will be um, vindicated and he will be able to run for future political offices. Um, I think that's how this is going to play out. But I have questions for you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think he's guilty of those allegations? And if you think he's guilty, do you have links to conclusive evidence that makes him guilty of those allegations? Do you think he will run for office, any political office in the future, maybe Senate or president? Do you think he will be running? Leave comment below. Do you think he's guilty with conclusive evidence? Leave comment below. And also, where do you think we are headed as a human species? Because we are becoming very sensitive to so many things that you can't even make joke these days, and you can't talk, or you can't even, it's difficult to make friends with new folks these days. So where do you think we're headed as a human species? I'd like to hear from you guys. If you are new on this channel and you watch this video up to this very moment, I just want to thank you for watching, for listening. I'd like to hear from you. Leave comment below. If you're not yet subscribed, please make sure you click the subscribe button. It's going to help me a lot. It's going to help this channel a lot. And if you are already subscribed, I want to thank you for being a subscribed member of this channel. And also share this video with your friends and your family. And yeah, until next time, when I'll be coming your way, remember to always be your best self. Take care, everyone.